Brew and Feed is here in frigid Washington, D.C. to check out the craft beer and food scene. We stopped by the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial to get some motivation. He understood that he had to do it offline in the streets, and Brew and Feed has an announcement to make. We're going offline this year in 2018. We're doing some offline events, in person, live, and direct. We're going to have a hot wing competition, we're going to have a taco competition, and we're going to have a homebrew competition. So look out for the schedule coming soon. In this episode of Brew and Feed, we find ourselves in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Our expectations were high, not only because this is the seat of power, but also because they have great monuments, world-class museums, and a slew of memorials to great Americans. This is Washington, D.C. Join us as we check out the Brew and Feed scene. Let's see what they're working with. Heritage Brewing Company's Market Common Brew Pub and Roastery was our first stop. With neighbors like Whole Foods and the Cheesecake Factory, I'm sure the rent is high here, so this place must be really good to survive in a location like this. This place drips craftiness. The motif they went with is rustic Americana that just reaps self-reliance. This brew pub is not just a brew pub that was built by a brewery that wanted a restaurant. The food shines just as bright as the beer in this place. The brews are very well crafted and well presented, but we were anxious to see what the rotisserie was all about. The dry rub rotisserie wings were unique and on point. Between the beer and the food, Heritage Brewing Company set the bar extremely high for the rest of the trip. Capital City Brewing Company was next on the agenda. It was a short trip, but well worth it. In addition to their prominent bright tanks behind the bar, they also have an open kitchen format, which Brew and Feed loves to see in a brew pub. We found Capital City's brews to be very well produced, very quaffable. We hope to spend a little bit more time with them next time and try their food as well. Anytime I'm in the DC area, I always take the opportunity to go and check out the Dogfish Head Ale House. There's a few Dogfish Head Ale Houses in the area, but the Falls Church, Virginia location is always the most convenient for us, so that's the one we visited this time as well. The Dogfish Head Ale Houses aren't directly owned by Dogfish Head. They're licensed to a restaurateur who serves Dogfish Head's beer and also manages the restaurant and overall operation. It's great to be able to get a variety of Dogfish Head beers on tap without having to go all the way to Delaware to get it. Dogfish Head still makes great beer, and their best days are still ahead of them. Not too far from Dogfish Head Ale House is Mad Fox Brewing Company, another brew pub. I'm starting to notice a trend here in this part of Virginia. Breweries that serve food, brew pubs. Brew and Feed is all about the beer and the food, so we're loving this part of Virginia. Mad Fox has a very impressive lineup of beers and a full food menu. I was particularly impressed with their citrusy Orange Whip IPA. It was fantastic. I also got to try the DC Classic Mumble Sauce wings while I was there. Mad Fox usually has a couple of cask conditioned beers on tap too. That adds to its uniqueness. It looks like a great place to hang out. We highly recommend it. We decided to get in touch with our feed side a little bit more, so we went to Founding Farmers in Tyson, Virginia. Founding Farmers is a unique concept where farmers own the restaurant. Members of the North Dakota Farmers Union developed the concept so guests could have access to and benefit from food grown and raised and harvested on American family farms. They have handcrafted cocktails and great food. And cementing their Brew and Feed certification is that every single one of the craft beers they have on tap is locally made. Founding Farmers is the kind of place we dream of, and we highly recommend you go and check them out. If the name Port City Brewing Company sounds familiar, it's because they were the 2015 Great American Beer Festival Small Brewing Company of the Year. When I walked into Port City Brewing Company, it struck me as the prototypical classic community-based craft brewery. And I looked at their website. You scroll through their events, they have things like joggers and loggers, beer yoga, trivia Thursdays, food truck Friday, pedals and pints. These are the kinds of things that cement a brewery in the hearts and minds of the local community. These perceptions were followed up and reinforced with some of the best beers we had in the Virginia area. Port City Brewing really knows what they're doing, and we highly recommend going to check them out. Our last stop made me believe that this part of Virginia is very underrated for their craft beer savvy. Caboose Brewing Company is a farm-to-table brewery. Nothing is more brew and feed than a farm-to-table restaurant paired with an American craft brewery. It is a wonderful place. I don't think we could have picked a better place to finish our trip to the Washington, D.C. area to check out the craft beer and food scene. This concludes our review of the Brew and Feed scene in the Washington, D.C. area. There were a lot of other breweries and restaurants on our list that we didn't get a chance to see, so there's a really good chance that Brew and Feed will be returning to Washington, D.C. for a part 2. Brew strong and feed well, and thanks for watching.